Hey, this is Joel Oney at the J Money Studio in the heart of the Buckeye State. And I want to personally welcome you to today's episode of the Steel Kings podcast with my good friends Jared Ledford and Eric Olson, better known to you as the Steel Kings. Be sure to check out jmoneyllc.com for financing solutions for your buildings. And now, let's get back to the Steel Kings podcast.
Hey guys, what's up? This is Jared and Eric, and this is the Steel Kings podcast. We are live for another episode here. And Eric, what's up, brother? We've been missing you for the last few weeks. What's been going on? You've been traveling,
dude,
destinations.
It's
the busy time of the year, right?
It's the busy time of the year, and normally when I get busy, I'm also doing other things too. And it just seems like I made a road trip out to Seattle, Washington with a guy I go to church with, and pit stopped at like 3 different people's houses, closed some deals, did a water fast, typical Eric life. Came back. Now we're doing podcasts.
Just the normal stuff.
The normal day in the life of a missionary man, I guess. So
yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, man.
I haven't seen you on camera in a minute.
I am better than I deserve. I am living a blessed life. We're on a podcast. I'm on a podcast with my best friend. I'm selling metal buildings and wood sheds, starting to dabble in pole barns. We are better.
Kids are out of school
right now. Yeah, kids got out of school, so you guys are probably going to be getting this mid-June, maybe first part of June. Kids just got out of school last week. I've got a couple of third graders who are no longer in elementary school, so I'm feeling older than usual. I'm getting a little extra gray in the hair. But yeah, I'm trying to see if my hair will grow back. I did the summer buzz, and somebody called me bald recently, so we'll see. We'll see if it grows back. Right, we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Cool. It goes with the flow, right? So I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. We've got a really exciting thing to go to today. We've got a new sponsor on the podcast, and that is Cold Spring Enterprises. These guys are behind the VersaBend system. So for all of our metal building manufacturers and wannabe metal building manufacturers, this is going to be one to listen closely to as we provide you product updates and give you the ins and outs of the product line. And obviously something that you've seen at trade shows, something that a lot of you might already be using in your shops. I want to give a quick shout out and plug to our team over at J Money. They will help you out with your financing needs, whether you're a metal building dealer, shed dealer, manufacturer, contractor, all of the above. The guys at J Money will give you exactly what you need. Contact the team over there. Joel and Katie are happy to help. As always, podcast team over at Shed Geek Podcast and Shed Geek Marketing. I want to give a quick shout out to those guys. I'm not going to waste a whole lot more time, Eric. We've got Wendell from Cold Spring Enterprises, the owner, here with us today. I'm going to bring him into the studio now, and we'll let him introduce himself and go from there.
Sounds good.
Wendell, can you hear us, brother? Are you with us?
Yes, I can.
All right. Wendell, it is an absolute pleasure and honor to have you on the Steel Kings podcast. For most of our listeners, I'm sure you've probably heard from Wendell on Shannon's podcast. He's been working with Sam over on the Friday show, but we're happy to have you with us here on the Monday show with the Steel Kings. Wendell, how are you doing today, brother?
Doing well. Yeah, we're blessed.
Good. Yeah, good, brother. So Eric and I were super pleased to hear from you. We made contact with you about a week or so ago, and we've been rapping back and forth on getting on the podcast and talking a little bit more about what you got going on. Can you give us a couple of minute breakdown on Cold Spring Enterprises, VersaBend, and we'll kind of go from there. I want to share as much of your story as possible. So tell us a little bit more about Wendell.
Yeah, sure. Just a bit of a history on our business. My father, Ernest, would have had his background would have been in the metal fabrication side. And so he started the business here in Abbeville, South Carolina, back in 1977. I was still in school. And yeah, once I graduated from high school, I joined my father. I'm the only son in the family. I have 3 sisters. And yeah, we left the little chicken house where we started. He had taken an old chicken house, turned it into a little metal fab shop. And that is where we actually started doing the carport frame. That was soon after the tubular buildings started showing up. And he made the first bender for ourselves after doing 1 or 2 carports. And then we started bending frames for other companies. And then 1 or 2 said, hey, why don't you make us a bender? So we did that. You know, that's been probably 25 years ago or more. But in the last 15 years now, we have produced, I'm thinking we probably have around 125 or 130 of these VersaBend machines out and working. And we don't have a big shop. We have around 7, 8 employees here. We do a lot of other metal fab work, but we do produce and build the tubular buildings. We erect them. We make the machine. We fab out all the brackets, hardware, clips to go with this. We sell that to other tubular companies that are doing the buildings. So that's who we are, and we'd love to do more of this type of work.
Yeah, that's what we want to hear, man. I mean, I think that, you know, most of our listeners are probably going to be dealers and manufacturers alike. But if we can introduce someone that we trust, someone that's been a good proponent for not only the Steel Kings, but for Shed Geek and for so many of our partners out there that are probably using a VersaBend machine. I mean, this is the man right here. So if you need anything from VersaBend, Wendell is going to be a really good contact for you guys. It sounds to me like not just producing tubular steel as far as forming, you're also supplying the brackets, you're also supplying hardware. So you become, I mean, you're really kind of the American dream, right? You started in you say a chicken house.
That's right.
So we were talking a little bit offline, and I was fascinated. It's a 3rd generation business.
That's right.
So you're now onto the 3rd generation of your family that's doing this. And, you know, that's just, I mean, that's right up me and Eric's wheelhouse. I mean, what we're trying to do here is build legacy for our family. And we're learning from people like you, Wendell, that have already built a legacy. And I mean, 3rd generation is impressive. I mean, that's just something to be really proud of and something to be, you know, have a lot of honor in. So, I mean, we're really happy to have you on the podcast for sure. Eric, I know you're just foaming at the mouth. I can see you just drooling over there. What do you got for us, brother?
Well, I'm just in awe about our connections that we've made over the years. And you know, at first it's like, oh gosh, you met an owner of a carport company, and then you meet a couple of them, and then you go to some trade shows, and it gets deeper, and then you hear people's stories. It's just, I'm thinking of where I started selling sheds, and it similar to a chicken coop or a chicken house. You know, this is a hole in the wall place, and it's so cool to see how God's blessed everybody in their businesses. And I mean, obviously, we're fortunate for you to get on the show because we do have a good network of manufacturers that either we'll connect them somehow, and I'm sure we'll get some pings after we launch the episode too. But so thankful to see legacy. Legacy is good, and it's hopeful for the future too. So I'm just excited for you to be here.
I think it's fair to say, Wendell, your dad probably had a fair amount to do with the growth in the industry. I mean, you as well. I mean, I think that, you know, when you're talking about 120, 130 benders out there, I mean, there's not that many folks out there doing these. Now, it seems like, you know, when you talk to dealers and you think about it, like we work with, I don't know, 18 to 20 manufacturers currently across the United States. I mean, and those guys are selling a lot of buildings. I would venture to say most of them are probably using a VersaBend in at least one of their shops. Wouldn't you think so, Wendell?
Yes, we've sold quite a few. Most of the places where we've sold the machines have been to smaller, you know, fellas companies. We did sell to 1 or 2 larger ones, so I'm not sure exactly where all they're at. But yeah.
How does one go about? Do you find that trade shows, cold calls, like hearing a referral, something like that. Like how is it best for you guys to gain new business? Do people just call you and inquire? Do you reach out? Is it, how do they locate you?
Yeah. So trade shows we have found the last number of years have been a great way. That has been really good. That's why we don't want to miss one. We do have a very good online presence. We joined up with E-Impact, and they really got us online. Anybody searching for a tube bender, we pop up pretty quick, and so we have a lot of website referrals wanting to know, what's the price, and so there's a lot of that connection as well. And of course, businesses that have had a machine want to add another one, referrals. That's all been good as well.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's exciting stuff. I mean, I think that it doesn't take much, right? I mean, this is a product that kind of sells itself in the space. It's affordable. It's not going to break the bank. It's not going to break anybody's wallet. It's something that you really are benefited by having. I mean, it's a tool specifically built for our industry, specifically built for what we do.
Let's face it, in the shed industry, content is king and always has been. 30 years ago, this meant having the cleanest shed lots on the busiest corners with the best looking inventory. But today, digital ad placement and high quality video have taken their place. The brands pulling ahead right now are the ones showing it visually with sharp, modern, professional content. That's exactly why we here at Shed Geek Marketing created the premier content capture package. With this package, we send our video production team to your location for a full day and a half, and we don't just film the pretty shots. We capture your brand's entire backbone. Your corporate team in action, shed building and craftsmanship, dealer locations, show lots, deliveries, testimonials, and drone footage. Those panning shots of your unique shed styles and fine details that make your product shine. This gives you a deep library of original footage to build high-performing, cost-efficient campaigns that stay fresh and dominate attention. No more scrambling for content, no more mediocre ads, just real footage that helps you build trust, tell your story, and convert like crazy. If you're ready to stand out and stay out in front, this is your content foundation.
Our machine would be different than there's one or two other machines out there that are being sold and work and do the job. Our machine comes equipped to bend 4 main sizes of tube in the industry. So that one machine comes to do all of those. It also does a full radius bend on the corner if you're going to do a bent frame corner, versus most of the other benders are doing 2 bends there. They have just 2 kind of like 2 hard crush bends, where we do 1 full radius. Gives it a little neater look. So yeah, that's what we have, and it's been a very good machine. It's just very simple to operate. All the components are just off the shelf type components. It's nothing you're going to have to wait long. If something does break down on it, we can get you up and going again.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
When you first started making that machine after that first customer, did you guys know, like, this is the business? We need to make these. We need to figure out how to make these.
No.
Okay.
It was like we built one, and then we built the second one, maybe a year later, and it took I don't know, 8 or 10 years like that, just 1 or 2 here and there. But now it's probably been the last 10 to 15 years that we're pushing it and actually trying to sell it. So we manufacture the buildings. I only have one local crew that does it, but our goal is to be more involved in this piece of machinery, as well as the components and the brackets and clips that we do thousands of them now and ship out as well to manufacturers.
And so when you guys first started, did you guys sell the kits, like the building kits? Because I heard you erected them. So
right,
is that like your typical 4 or 5 foot off center? Same deal as is that? Okay, gotcha. Okay, and then you kind of shifted away from that. Like, where did that kind of stop being a
Yeah,
thing? I
that's right.
guess.
We did. So we weren't doing a lot of that, but we had one particularly that we would. There was another fella too that we would sell the frames to. They would buy their own sheeting and have their own crew to put them up. Well, then when we sold a bender to the one company, then he started, of course, buying his own tubing and
Gotcha.
and so
Go
yeah,
ahead,
it kind
sell.
of took that business away from us, but we were okay. And even now, if someone's wanting to start up, we're not so much about trying to sell them the tubing. We'll give them contacts for different mills that roll tubing, and just let them buy their own tube. If they want to buy a few bundles from us to start off with, they can't afford to buy a full truckload. We'll help them out with that as well. But basically, just helping someone get in business, and yeah, providing the hardware and things. And of course, with the new machine that we're coming up with, I think we'll talk about that here in a bit. That's something that's a big kind of an interest for us to get out on the market as well.
Yeah, tell us about the Swedger, right?
That's correct.
The Swedger. So tell us a little bit about this. I mean, I want to give a quick pop off to you guys. Check them out at coldspringmetal.com. Give these guys your full attention, because if you're out there and you're using anything other than a VersaBend machine right now to bend your tube steel, you're probably doing yourself a disservice. These are guys that have come up in the industry, like Wendell said, 1977. They've got some real traction in this industry, and they've gone from metal producer, metal fabrication, to now they're supplying quite a lot of the industry with really high-end components and really the best tools in the industry to do what we do. Tell us about the Swedger, Wendell. I mean, seriously, I want to hear about this thing.
Right. So the Swedger is something that we actually have a machine here. It is working. We're looking at actually offering the machine and getting it out on the market. It's going to be, I don't know, 6-8 months yet until that happens, hopefully. But a Swedger will take your tubing, whatever. If you're building your carport, your buildings out of 2.5, 2.25, 2x3, this Swedger takes that and takes the end of the tube and swedges it down, takes the last 6 inches of your tube, swedges it down so that it fits inside of your joint, which allows you to put together these buildings without a separate piece, an individual little sleeve that you have to put in there. So there's been quite a few people asking us that have bought our bender. They're asking, do we offer Swedgers? We just been saying, no, we don't have it. So that is our goal. Hopefully by the end of the year, first of next, is to have the Swedger available to where you can swedge your tubing and slip fit your joints.
You're talking about a lot of saved time and money over time, as opposed to using sleeves and dealing with so for installers, this is a huge deal. I mean, I've been on enough build sites at this point to understand how metal buildings are constructed. You probably know more than me by a country mile, Wendell. But I mean, you're talking about a significant amount of time and cost savings over the course of a run, right? When you're talking about swedging versus using, brackets and sleeves and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. Yeah. And I think there's also, I don't know, we haven't done any testing, but I think there is even a strength issue as well, because you just have two pieces joined together versus 3 now. So yeah, we're excited about it, and I think there'll be a market for it.
Yeah, anytime you have movement, anytime you have like an additional piece in there that can cause friction and movement, I feel like there's room for it to be less well built. I mean, I don't know exactly the word I want to use, Wendell, but to me, if you've got a piece of steel moving in between 2 other pieces of steel, that friction can cause, hardware to back out, things like that. Whereas when you swedge, you've got that built-in kind of connection off the rip, and then you use your fasteners to hold it together. Is that
right.
a good understanding?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, I like to really, I mean, for all of our metal building dealers, I can't stress enough, pro tip of the day, we've been getting a lot of feedback from, we've been getting a lot of feedback online that some people love the pro tip, some of you don't. I can tell you, if you don't like them, that's okay. They work well for us. What I can tell you is you need to know your product inside and out. Raise your standards up, learn about the manufacturing process of the buildings that you're selling, because you will be that much more in the game when it comes to talking to customers. I really want you to understand the metal building construction here. For those that are listening, when you're talking about an upper, so a leg coming down into a base rail, the difference between that base rail and that upper, or that leg meeting together with a sleeve bracket to hold it together versus swedging, there's just a significant quality difference. And when you're talking about, manufacturer A, 4 foot on center, 12 gauge, 26 gauge wrap, swedged, the quality that you're talking about versus a 14 gauge, 29 wrap, bracketed, we've seen this. Eric and I have been doing this for, Eric's been doing it for almost 7 years now. I've been doing it for a little over 4. What I can tell you is the quality difference on the breakdown of the building is what you can use to justify selling a higher quality product. And that's why it was such an honor for us to get with Wendell, because it was a product that I already believed in. I remember, and I don't think Wendell remembers, but I remember meeting Wendell at a trade show. So I like Gary's shows, the Shield Wall Media shows. We were talking about that, Wendell. We'll be excited to see you. I'm sure we'll bump into you with the next one. Is the next one going to be in the fall that you'll be out with Gary?
It's in January.
January. Okay, so I was pulling that up here. I wanted to give everybody a quick shout out. It's being rebranded as the Rural Builder Show. Is that right? Isn't that right?
I think that's right. Yeah, he's putting kind of 2 together. He's going to have a building that will have both. Yeah.
It was that really long name, Garage Shed Carport Expo, now rebranded the Rural Builder Show. I think that they're really looking to get into that Shield Wall is known for their post frame. Gary's really connected in that space. And I think he's really looking to tie together the two industries, pole barn and metal. And, that's really where our wheelhouse is as Eric and I, start working on our pole barn projects and getting really excited about that. Wendell, how does a customer make initial contact with you? Is it going to be through the website? Is there a phone number that they can reach out? What's the easiest way to get a hold of somebody at Cold Spring to get more information about VersaBend and future projects?
Yeah. So you definitely can get a hold of us on our website, and hopefully I can get back with you, fairly quick. But we would, you actually do better if you just call, because it's always good to just talk, and you can find out who we are and what we have to offer. So I would, I'd love to have that chance to just talk. Yeah.
And I think we'll probably reach back out to you fairly often. I mean, maybe once every 6-8 weeks, and just get a check-in with you. I mean, I think customers would love to know what you guys got going on at Cold Spring. I know we're well interested in learning when the Swedger is going to become available, so that we can get that out to our friends and listeners that are really in the market for something like that. And again, these machines, am I roughing it when I say starting around $20K, Wendell?
That's right. Yeah, the VersaBend sells for $19,500, and then most of the time there's some shipping. But yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, that is an affordable number. So, I mean, if you're listening to this and you're manufacturing metal buildings, I mean, it doesn't take long to overcome that initial buy-in. And from there, what kind of service, what kind of maintenance, what kind of, long-term protection do you have on those, Wendell? Do you guys service them? Do you guys do that kind of thing, or?
Hello, shed sellers. Did you catch the latest Real Work Labs interview with George Converse? If not, don't miss this value-packed episode. Head to Shed Geeks Podcast YouTube and search Real Work Labs. George and the Real Work Labs crew are riding the wave of Google's latest updates, taking your digital presence to the next level. We're tech artisans crafting your neighborhood brand voice for shed sellers like you to stand out, gain trust, and get found online. Our software will easily capture your work snapshots, videos, weave your craft's story, and get reviews all in one virtual experience. Our innovation goes beyond getting found for your business location, rather getting found for your work locations. Reviews intertwine with their corresponding job sites. When potential customers seek local expertise, you're the proven solution they'll find. It's high time to map your reviews and showcase your beautiful work in a meaningful way that builds trust in customers' neighborhoods. Ready for the journey? Visit shedgeek.realworklabs.com or call George today at 480-787-7575. Real Work Labs, elevating your trust, increasing your conversions, and getting you found where you work in the neighborhoods you serve, one shed at a time.
We would, yeah. I mean, I don't know that we've ever had a machine necessarily come back for service.
Yeah.
They just work. But if there is something that breaks or whatever, we're right there to support. Most of the time, we can just talk, a shop manager, whoever, maintenance person on the floor. We can help them take care of the issue. We can get them the parts. We keep, things here.
Sure.
But there's very little of that happening so far. So
well, that's good. I mean, I wouldn't expect much less from a third generation American company making a really top tier type of product. And that's what we expect when we're dealing with like that quality. Eric and I are really high on working with quality partners, working with quality manufacturers. I think we've stressed that probably just about on every episode is find the right manufacturing partner if you're a dealer.
Exactly.
Find the right dealer. Find the right dealer if you're a manufacturer and you're listening to this and you're tired of getting bum orders. Maybe it's time to care a little bit more about the dealers that you're bringing on. You have to continue to realize that in this industry, it's a quality concern. And I want to make mention of this just because it's on my mind every day. The race to the bottom doesn't have to involve everyone. A rising tide raises all boats. We don't have to compete with each other to the point of nauseum and at the point where it's costing us money. Eric and I go about this. I mean, we talk about this probably multiple times a week, right? I mean, this is, we deal with this all the time where we get competing quotes from dealers who clearly are not looking out for the best interest of the customer. The only thing that I can really ask you guys from an industry-wide standpoint is do better, not just for yourselves, but do better for your customers. If you're looking for an option in helping you scale your business, a tool like VersaBend is going to absolutely revolutionize what you're doing. I've seen some jobs. I mean, Wendell, give us a breakdown on how much easier it is. I mean, you can form tubes, you can bend tube steel. I mean, but tell us why. What's the why behind the 19.5? If you had to tell somebody the one reason why VersaBend is the absolute best tubular steel bender on the market, what would you say?
Yeah, so I would say it's because you're getting a machine that's gonna bend 4 sizes of tube. That's just, it comes equipped for that. One die does all those tubes. The only thing that you have to do is take, we call them shims, and then that little shim literally picks in and out of the die. No tools, no bolts or anything. It just slides in and out. And it's that quick that you can change your die from a 2x3 tube to a 2 1/4 tube. So to change out for different size tubes, it's very, very quick. You have 2 guys, one guy running the machine, one guy running the end of the tube. If you're doing a bent, what we call a bent frame, traditional bent style carport, you can do a bundle of tube, which is 25 pieces. You can do a bundle of tube in less than 30 minutes. So that's just about a minute, for a bow. So it's very quick, and it does the full radius versus the double bend. Just a really neat looking bend that it does.
And
do you bring that to a trade show?
It gives you that quality.
Do you bring at the trade show? Are you bringing a machine with you?
We do, yes.
And you just do, and if there's somebody there and you're not, obviously wasting material, but you're putting on a show a little bit. And okay, I think the Steel Kings are going to try to come to that trade show. We're trying to get a schedule, so definitely want to come by the booth. I know it's not till January, which is 6 months away, but time flies in the metal building industry. So Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
for
I didn't
those
mean to
of
jump
you,
in there.
no, for those of you that haven't checked it out, check out Shield Wall Media. I'm going to give them a free plug. I love Gary. I love the guys over there. They do a great job with their shows. They do the Post Frame Builder show. They do the Roll Forming show, which the Roll Forming show, ironically enough, is going to be in Dayton. So the Steel Kings will be there one way or the other for that one for sure.
Wow.
Yeah, that one's going to be in Dayton in August, or excuse me, October, and then the Roll Builder show next year, first part of next year. And it's fun to see. That's what drew me to your booth, Wendell, when I was there in Knoxville, was seeing the equipment. It's not big either. I mean, that's the thing.
No.
Like, if you're thinking this thing takes up a big space, it's probably, I'm guessing, about 4 feet wide. What's the dimensions on it look like? 4 feet by 2?
That's right. It's
not,
probably
yeah.
about 4 feet wide, stands about, close to 4 feet tall. It might be about 5 feet long, but you put it in the back of your pickup truck,
Yeah.
if you come to
Yeah,
pick it
it's
up.
not. That's the shocking part about this, guys.
That is pretty
not,
shocking.
I'll credit the Deanna and the edit team, because I'm sure they're going to show one. But if you guys are on the YouTube or you're watching us on the video, hopefully we've got a spliced in picture of this machine, because the cost is really not that prohibitive. If you're selling tubular steel buildings, you're making enough money to cover the cost of this probably in 1 or 2 buildings. And at that point, like Wendell said, you can do a bundle in 30 minutes, bend this thing out. I mean, think about the time, think about the quality. We're talking uniform. We're talking uniform bends. We're talking things that look good and are quicker. And at the end of the day, time is what, Eric? Time is money. That's right. Time is money. Time is money.
It just is.
So you got to think about all those extra minutes of bending, all that, and the fact that you're not getting uniform bends, the fact that you're not producing the kind of quality that you want to. That's where something like VersaBend really plays a key role in scaling. So if you're, Wendell and we were talking before the podcast started, working with small manufacturers. I mean, if you're a one-man show, give Wendell a call. If you're a huge conglomerate and you want a couple extra machines, give Wendell a call. I mean, this is not a situation where we're looking for huge manufacturers. We're not looking for really anyone in particular. We're looking for someone that wants to get into this industry, or just, has a need. It may not even be that you're a metal building manufacturer. You may use tube steel in another form, but this gives you the option to do, let's see, you said 2 1/4, 2 1/2, 2 by 3, and what was the fourth one you said?
You can do also a 2 by 2, which isn't used a lot, but for small. If people are doing greenhouses now, you can bend 2 by 2. We also have a separate die that will bend a 2 by 4 tube. So there's been a few people doing 2 by 4 tube and going a little wider. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've started to see stuff like that. I think the quality, we used to just see 2 1/2, 2 1/4, 12 and 14 gauge framing. Now we're starting to see all these different configurations of things. They'll use 2 1/4 in the ends, and they'll use 2 1/2 in the side. I mean, they break down these things so differently. The manufacturers are kind of all over the place. And, again, for our metal building dealers and those who don't know why, a lot of it's because they use the different components to meet engineering specs. So in some parts of the building, they may need to use 2 1/2 or 2 1/4 based on whatever engineering specs. That's one thing I was fascinated about when I went to my first build with site-specific blueprints, is even though I sold a 12 gauge upgrade, I was expecting all the tubing to be 2 1/4, 12 gauge. Some of it was 2 1/2. Just because it's what you expect doesn't mean it's what you're actually going to get when you get there. Understanding every component and makeup on the building is super important to giving your customer a thorough expectation of what to expect when they get their building. And I think that's what we do exceptionally well. Eric and I and our team, we know the product as well as any dealers out there, I would think. Eric, where does that benefit? We're going to wrap up here, but what do you hear from this as a dealer and as a, someone that's just learning about?
I think it's the thing that I always think about is the Swedger is more of like a VersaTube. I just keep thinking of that guy in Michigan that was going to buy that building from us, and I was struggling to explain the difference. And if you're a dealer and you don't know, and really honestly, if you're I mean, if you're probably a manufacturer, you should know, but if you're not knowledgeable and then you get questions about something and you're just basically ignorant to what the information is, like what is the difference between an American steel joint, an American steel product versus a Versatube product, because they look the same, and but being able to describe where the joint hits, where the up goes into the base rail, it's like that right there makes so much sense and paints confidence to a buyer, which is what this industry needs. The industry needs knowledge. The people perish from a lack of knowledge. So if you're just selling somebody something and you're not sure, like what I'm taking away from this is that there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you should know all the ways, all the possible ways you should know. And very excited to get a demo of the new product that's coming out. So stay in touch with us about like a release date, and love to get some footage, like a footage of it in operating, like a 60-second clip of how quick it works, or putting you on the spot to say yes on that, but that might be helpful for the new product line that's coming out. And I'm sure you guys have some marketing team that, but just, yeah. So just to summarize my answer, it's just basically there is more than one way to connect joints. There's the old fashioned way with a 3-foot brace and some welding, or you got this new thing. And it's important to know the difference between both, because some customers are going to be picky and want explanation, and some customers want the cheapest, and then you don't even have to tell them. You just give them the cheap, because they don't care. And so, yeah, we're blessed to have you on the show, Wendell.
Yeah, I'll follow up with one
Looking
last thing for our
forward.
manufacturing friends. If you're not using a VersaBender, I would question why. I would at least say, hey, reach out to me. I can, at least give you some guidance, connect you with Wendell directly. I think it's one of those things where work smarter, not harder, measure twice, cut once kind of a thing. If you can save 10, 15 minutes on a bundle of steel, you really need to consider what you're doing right now. And not just that, but again, the uniform, the precision, everything behind this machine speaks to quality, and it speaks to saving your time, which in turn saves your money. So, Wendell, you got anything for us on the way out? Yeah, I'm sure we could talk to you all day, because you're, again, one last time, 3rd generation business, US, all the things that you want to hear in a business. They helped build this industry. They've helped shape this industry. Wendell, leave us with some good remarks for everybody.
Yeah, well, thank you for having me on, and been great sharing this. The other piece that I would say, not only do we have the VersaBend and the Swedger that's coming up, but we make all the components. If you go to our website, you'll see that there's a little 2x2 angle clip and a 2x4 flat clip that's used in the industry. Literally thousands of these are made. And we make that. We bought a new machine, so we have the price down, I think, about as low as you can find them out there. We'd love to pick up more of that business. Of course, the more you buy type thing, the better the price. So we have those at a very, very good price. And we'd love to just sell components to anybody that's interested.
Perfect. Yeah, I cannot encourage you guys enough. Check them out. Cold Spring. Let me get your website pulled back up one more time. Cold Spring Enterprises is the company. ColdSpringMetal.com. Check them out. Give us the phone number, Wendell, one time as a shout out.
Say that again.
Give us the phone number that they can reach you at.
Yes, 864-446-3645.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, we're going to end on that note. This has been a great episode. Wendell, we're so appreciative of you, brother. We're going to hear from you more in the future. We're going to get some videos up for our listeners and everything on how the VersaBend works. We're going to share some links. Be on the lookout for those of you that are listening for the newsletter from Shannon. We'll make sure to get you guys some really good content from the guys over at Cold Spring Enterprises. Again, coldspringmetal.com. 864-446-3645. Contact the team over there for anything that you need as far as components. I'm sure they're happy to answer any questions about VersaBend. Be on the lookout for the Swedger, hopefully first part of next year, and we'll keep you updated on that too. Eric, you got anything as we close out this week, brother?
That's it. I have no pro tips. Sometimes don't have pro tips.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
Fair enough. The pro tip is
anything else.
I'm going to leave it like I always do, guys. Get out in your community. Get out in your community and be a good neighbor. Be a good friend. Do something for somebody else. That's right. Do something for somebody else. Trust me, you will feel good when you do. I promise you.
Amen.
So in the meantime, guys, I'm Jared. He's Eric. We got Wendell over there. We love you guys and we appreciate you guys. We will be back for another episode of the Steel Kings podcast next Monday. Check out Shannon's show on Wednesday. If you have anything, I'm Jared at the Steel Kings. He's Eric at the Steel Kings. We will talk to you guys soon. Have a great week, all right? Peace out.
Thank you.
Caleb Grimes, you're next.
Before you go, the J Money team wants to thank you for listening to today's Steel Kings podcast. Remember, money is king. If you need a financing option on your portable wood sheds or steel buildings, we are here to help. Just check out jmoneyllc.com for more information. Don't forget to catch the next episode. We'll still be here. Have a great day.